Green interwebs, this is Jackie K, and I got some special news to share with you guys. I actually got a job working with Pokemon Showdown. Well, a job isn't exactly accurate. It's like some freelancing work. So the guys running the servers were looking for someone to update the graphics for the Pokemon net. They looked pretty cool before, but they were in need of an update. They were just in need of just some creativity. So I offered my creative mind to them, and they accepted my offer. I went around making sprites for all the Pokemon in the game. Though, to be fair, I had to keep it under wraps for a while. I'm sorry about that. But this was top secret stuff. They just revealed the sprites that I made today, so I'm super excited to show you guys all the creative work I've made to improve the Pokemon Showdown site, all for the better. And plus, you guys like Pokemon battles, so I can kill two birds with one stone. So as soon as we can find an opponent to battle, we can begin. You might think my team's a bit different. This is actually a little bit of an underused team I've been experimenting around with. So, trying to figure out who to send out first, I decided to go with the Bronzong because I still use it for the screens. And this team doesn't necessarily have a proper lead. So I go into my Bronzong hoping to get up the screens, but my opponent is quite fine. And that's the first time I actually seen a Michelle actually have the move knockoff, so it did catch me off guard. I did get up a screen, but I'm definitely not going to be able to take another hit like that, so over here I'm trying to decide what to go for. I decided to try to go for the confusion, and that actually works out to my advantage because my opponent swaps out. With it confused, I guess I can go for another screen. This works out to my advantage because my opponent, afraid of the confusion, actually swaps out and goes into Michelle here, so I'm able to get both layers of screens up. Unfortunately, I don't have the light clay, so it won't really last as long. I'm debating whether or not to go into another one of my Pokemon or just go for Confused Ray. I think my Aerodactyl can take the hit the best out of any Pokemon we have, so it's actually a Mega Evolution. Going for that, I'm pretty sure I can take it out in one hit with the Aerial Ace. It's a matter of outspeeding, and Aerodactyl is a pretty fast Pokemon, so I'm not too worried about going for that. Sadly, I'm not able to outspeed, but I do survive the hit, so I'm able to take out this Michelle in one hit. At first I'm not too worried, because I'm confident that the Aerodactyl can outspeed whatever comes out next, but then I have second doubts, so I'm gonna go into my Vaporeon after a bit of thinking, because I have the wish on Vaporeon, and at the very worst case scenario, I can hopefully recover the health of either Aerodactyl or Bronzong. Although at the health range it's going to be very difficult to get it in there. That turns out to be a good play for me because otherwise I would have been taken out by that Shadow Sneak. Believe my opponent here predicts me to go for Water move and not the Wish, which works out to my advantage. Because now I can get a free swap into Bronzong, get it back up to health, and I can get my screens up again. Considering the situation my opponent's in with this Pokemon and me being at full health and resisting everything, my opponent's gonna go for a nice play of the Sleep Powder, pretty much preventing me from getting my screens up unless I'm lucky enough to wake up. And since the Roserade can't do anything else, it's gonna swap out into Crocodile. Fortunately for me, I'm able to wake up right away, and since there's not really anything else I can do with this Reflect Up, I decided to bring Vaporeon out. There's not really much I could have done about those leftovers, but I'm not too worried about losing them. I still have the means of healing my health through Wish. And speaking of, I do a nice chunk of damage to that Bikini because of the Scald. I'm not sure what my opponent was thinking, besides the fact that it does have the Bolt Strike move. And that catches me a little off guard. I decided to go for the Wish anyways, because I assumed that this is going to be my best chance to get Aerodactyl in and get a Wish recovery. However, that does not work according to plan. I guess that if a Pokemon faints, Wish gets cancelled or something. And I am leaving myself in a bit of an awkward situation. Hoping to outspeed so I can hit it with the Stone Edge. My opponent predicts that Stone Edge though, and goes right back into that Crocodile. What I don't think she knows is that I have Ice Fang. Although with my attack lowered, I'm not that confident that I would be able to take the hit. So I do eventually go into Executor instead. And that turns out to be a very bad play, thanks to Knockoff. The one thing about Knockoff that I wasn't worried about isn't necessarily knocking away the item, not the super effective damage. The fact that it does more damage when you're holding an item. that was what I was most worried about. Pretty much sacked away my executor for no reason because of that play. And I'm left with the tough decision of figuring out of who to go into. I eventually decided for Scoutland because I do have that Retaliate. And I also have Intimidate, which will allow me to reduce the amount of damage I take. So I go for another Retaliate to finish up the job, but the Crocodile is going to reveal that I have superpower. I feel very thankful I'm able to take the hit. But now my Scoutland is pretty much in a position that the only reason to keep it around is for Intimidate. And while there's a couple Pokemon that are able to do that, I kind of wish I would be able to do more with the Scoutland. At this point, I pretty much figured that the only thing I can do is sacrifice off my Aerodactyl, so I can bring Scoutland back in and get another Retaliate before I go down. Hopefully. That does require me to be faster, and Scoutland is not a fast Pokemon compared to some of the other things in UU, I will admit. But at least I'll be able to get off one more Intimidate before the Scoutland goes down on something that doesn't like to Intimidate. So I'm gonna get finished off by the Drain Punch. Unfortunately, I am not able to outspeed. I shouldn't be expecting to outspeed. And I'm left with two Pokemon, and it's not really quite that fabulous of a situation I am currently in. Though my Bronzong here is going to be putting in some work, going for that Confuse Ray to punish the Swords Dance usage. And then I'm going to reveal that I actually have an attacking move for the Psychic. But the Confusion practically does all the work for me. Lucky, maybe, but I do have the Psychic moves and I don't think that this Pokemon would be able to do much to me. Probably enough to wear me out, but I will take the blessings as I can get them. I'm kinda doubtful I can do a lot of damage with Psychic, but I go for it anyways, and it turns out to work to my advantage because my opponent's gonna bring in the Roserade, and that's gonna do a nice chunk of damage. Probably even enough for me to be able to finish it up with another Psychic. I am gonna be lucky enough to dodge the Sleep Powder, so I can take out the Roserade. If I wasn't able to dodge the Sleep Powder, this battle probably would have been over right here. Though then again, some of you can probably already see that this battle is pretty much at its end. With this Bronzong having Levitate over Heat Proof, there's no way it's going to survive that V-Crate. And I'm just going to be left with my Rotom, which is weak to the Bikini and doesn't really have anything good against the Quagsire. I go for the Electro Ball just for the heck of it, and my opponent does predict that though and goes right into Quagsire. The battle is pretty much over here, since the only thing I can do is Hidden Power Ice. Maybe if I had Blizzard instead, things would be different, but I do like the more accurate moves. I guess my opponent's gonna go for the Toxic to speed things up, but it's pretty much over from here, just pretty much waiting for my Rotom Frost to die. I do have hopes of being able to at least take that out, but then it reveals it has Recover, and that's when I know this is over. I'm just sticking around to be a good sport. So, I actually want to start wrapping things up here. I have another battle to share with you guys today since I have such amazing work in art. It's almost as good as my battling skills. So this has been Jackie K, and I'll see you all later today for another battle.